Welcome to Let's Get Into It. I am your host, Sherelle Higgins. Let's Get Into It is a safe space to have real conversations that are meant to uplift, encourage, and let you know you are not the only one dealing with life. Each episode of Let's Get Into It is designed to provide illuminating and thought-provoking information on a variety of topics. In fact, no topic is off limit. If you would like to see a topic discussed, please feel free to make a recommendation. My special guest and I will have a great time discussing topics that the mainstream media wouldn't dare discuss. We will bring these conversations to you with an open mind, respectfully, from different perspectives, and most importantly, with love. Thank you for joining me and my special guest. Now, let's get into it. Hello. Let's get into it. I am your host, Sherelle Higgins, and today I have a special show. I thought it would be appropriate to do this particular show on this particular day during this particular time because we are getting ready to be tested. We are going to be tested in every way imaginable with this new administration. And so I want you to sit back, and as we begin, I want you to think about who you are, what you're made of, and where you came from. And so today's topic is, I have some special guests with me here today, and we're going to talk about the block we grew up on. I want you to think about your childhood. Think about where you grew up, the people who have impacted your life. Maybe some of those people you're still in contact with. I know I am. And so, I want us to just really sit back and enjoy thinking about who we are, what we're made of, and what we can endure. And so as I began to introduce you to my guests today, I want you to know that they are not just people who grew up on a block that I grew up on in Chicago on 63rd and Paulina. They are family. We have been knowing each other since early in life, and we have gone through life together. And so I thought we would sit back and talk about all of those things that we remember from our childhood on 63rd and Paulina. And so first, I am going to bring to the stage Carolyn Brame. Carolyn Brame Bates. Let me get it right. She grew up across the street from us, and we have always been sisters. We have not had any issues growing up and throughout adulthood, and we have been very supportive of one another.
Yes.
And so we show up for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to tell their age, but I'm just going to say they're all older than I am. And so, welcome, Carolyn.
Thank you. Look, Sherelle, aka Butter, as I know her and grew up with her, and we never had a fight. But thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Carolyn. And next, I am going to bring to the stage Carolyn's big brother, Phil Brame. Welcome, Phil.
Hello, everyone.
I'm so glad you all joined us. And we are not going to stop with the Brames because we have one more Brame who is joining us, and that is their youngest brother, Kenny Brame. Hey, big brother.
How y'all doing?
He's our little big brother because he's big and tall, y'all. So he's our little big brother. He's younger than us, but he's our little big brother. And so I am also going to bring to the stage, let's see, my BFF. We were BFF on 63rd and Paulina. When I tell you we spent a lot of time together, we spent a lot of days together, and I used to date one of her brothers. And so, yes, Kimball said Inglewood. Yes, Inglewood is represented. Come on, Lolita. She Lolita now. She used to be Lisa. And so if you hear me calling her Lisa, that is why. But she goes by Lolita now. Welcome, Lolita. You're on mute. You still on mute. We might have some technical difficulties, but we're going to work through it. You're on mute, Lisa. We can't hear you. That's okay. She's going to work through it. We can't hear you. Let me see if I can. Nope. Let me see. Okay, now it says mute. Now let me see what happened. Okay, I just tried to mute and unmute. Let's see. Can you say hello, everybody? We can't hear you. So here's what I need you to do. You know what? This technology is a wonderful thing. And sometimes we got to log out and log back in. And so, Lisa, that's what we're going to ask you to do. Log out and then log back in. And let's see if that doesn't fix your audio issue. Okay. And while we waiting on Lisa to log out and log back in, of course, I could not have done this show without having some of my big sisters on the show. And so I am going to bring to the stage my sister who is next to me, who you all have met before on a couple of shows. Jackie, come on in here. Hey, Jackie.
Hey, Jackie.
Hello, each and every one of you. And it's always a pleasure.
Y'all think it's always a party with me? That one right there, stay at a party. And last but certainly not least, I am going to bring my big sister. Let's see. Lisa look like she's back. Let's see if we can get something for audio. Lisa. We can't hear you. Oh my
Turn
goodness.
the volume up, maybe?
Yeah, turn the volume up and see if that works.
Wow.
All right, sit tight. We're going to work through this thing. Yes, we got somebody named Shirley Doss Williams saying Inglewood in the house. Absolutely.
Hey.
We work together, Centers for New Horizons.
I'm going to bring my big sister Sharon to the screen. You all have seen her on the podcast several times before, and she is back.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you all. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yes.
Yes.
You got to get Lisa squared away because she is representing a family that was on the block.
The Greens.
Look, she got it.
She got that
Tasia
look.
talking about Triple S. That's right, Tasia. Southside Sherelle.
You know.
Lisa, what is going on with your audio? Did you try to turn it up? Nod your head. Can you hear us?
She needs to go into her settings and check her volume.
Yeah.
Okay, go into your settings and check your volume. We're going to kick this show off as soon as Lisa get her stuff together. But in the meantime, right, I have questions for you all. And so I'm going to ask Phil because he is the elder of the group. And
Only 4 years, Sharon. Don't be late.
I'm going to go into your memory bank. Do you remember when you all moved on Paulina? What year that was?
That was 1969.
Oh wow!
So it was right after everything blew up with the death of Dr. King, and I think I'm correct. It was 1969, and it was the community was changing at that point. There was still a lot of the dominant culture still on Inglewood at that time. And, so yeah, 1969.
Okay, and Lisa can't tell us when they moved on the block, so I'll circle back to that.
You got pen and paper?
I'm going to ask you.
Only
Put it up to the camera. Hey Lisa, try logging off and logging back on through your phone.
Oh, Lord.
Jackie, do you remember when we moved on the block? I ain't gonna ask Sharon because I already know her memory not good.
Well, it started with our grandparents were there first in 60 because it was still the ending of a different race. And our race was coming into the neighborhood. But we came right after we graduated grammar school, 1978.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, Lisa. Okay, there we go. All right, Lisa, turn your phone.
We miss you.
Okay, now we can hear you.
Okay, am I too loud?
No, but turn your phone so you fill up the whole screen.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, Jackie wouldn't know what too loud is. Lisa, do you remember when you all moved on the block?
Absolutely not. I think I was maybe 6,
What year was
7.
that?
I have no idea. I'm guessing ages around here.
You said 6? You were 6?
Yeah, I think I was like
That's
6.
about 1972.
Yeah. I'm thinking it was about that time.
Okay. All right. So turn your phone, Lisa.
It's turned.
Oh. Okay. All right. We're gonna work through this. Don't worry.
I don't know what's going on.
We have the 60s and the 70s that we moved on the block. And so most of us were fairly young when we moved on the block. And so I don't remember how we all met. I just remember my grandparents lived in the house, they moved out, and we moved in, and we was just all friends and family.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's about
Pretty
it.
much.
And what
Okay.
year was that, Sherelle?
1978, Jackie said.
Well, I was gonna challenge Jackie on that. 'Cause I'm
Okay,
thinking-
go ahead.
I'm
Is
thinking-
this Jeopardy?
I don't remember, but I'm thinking
How you
about.
gonna challenge if you don't remember?
Well, let me finish. I'm thinking. So I was only on Paulina for 3 years. That doesn't make any sense.
You
That's
came
about
out
right.
of high school early.
I know, but still, it seemed like we lived there for such a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember one Christmas,
Mhm.
I want to say, and I don't know where this picture is today, of course, but me and Sharon was on you all's porch, and I remember we took a picture, and we had to be about
Yeah.
maybe 13, 14, something
Yeah,
like that.
that's right. That's right in
Mhm.
1978. So you just proved Jackie's
Okay.
point, Carolyn.
Okay.
So I'm gonna
You see, I got you, girl. Sorry, Sharon.
Well,
I actually can give you all the exact time that you moved there because Sherelle was in 7th grade.
wow.
Because you only did the 7th grade and 8th grade at Bunch.
I did 8th grade at Bunch. Yes.
So
I
you
was-
can't, yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
So I
only
remember that.
did at Bunch. Yeah. Okay. So, Carolyn,
Yes, ma'am.
just to give people some background about your family, how many siblings do you have?
There were 8. There's 7 now.
Okay. And
Mhm.
Lisa, how many siblings?
Oh, wow. There was 10 of us, and it's 8 of us now.
Okay. All right. And Sharon, can we ask you the question? That lived on Paulina.
Oh, they lived on Paulina. Well, that's a hard question.
Okay,
But-
siblings, it was 6. I'm gonna help you.
Okay, well, I'm thinking that all the other people that joined us.
Oh, yeah, that's all. Sis.
It was only 6 of us, but if we always had other people living with us.
Yes.
A lot of cousins. A lot of cousins.
Mhm.
It was
Okay,
beautiful.
so we have, so as you can see, we were the larger families on that
Mhm.
particular block.
There was.
And so, Kenny, I'm going to ask you, how would you describe Paulina in 1 or 2 words as it relates to your upbringing?
I would say 2 words: family oriented. Like,
Okay. All
whether
right.
it was our family, whether it was the Willises, whether it was the Greens, whether it was you all. I mean, everybody, families just blended together.
Yes. And this is during a time when people really took to heart that it took a village to raise.
Yes.
And so, Sharon, how would you describe it? You only lived there for 3 years, so how would you describe your 3 years?
It like it was longer than that. I'm like, what? I thought it was a great experience being over there with the families. You know, when you think about the time that we were there, it was wild at times. But we were close knit. You know, we were friends, we were family, and we looked out for each other. But then there was, you know, the wild parts of growing up in that particular area.
Okay, Jackie.
Yes. Growing up on Paulina, Lord. You know what's the funny thing? We had our parent in our house, and then we had parents on the block in other houses. And we couldn't challenge them. I mean, in our mind we did, but
And back then, you couldn't even do it in your mind because somehow they would know.
I always remember at least the Mr. Green butter. We was walking midnight, but that's nothing. Heading to the Greasy Spoon because the mom on the block worked there, get a free meal. He said, "Where y'all going at midnight? We ready to go get something to eat." "No, you're not. It's midnight. Sit down." What we do? We sat down.
We ain't about to smoke. Okay, Carolyn, how would you describe it?
I would describe it as structured and disciplined. Because as Jackie just stated, you know, we had our parents at home, but we also had like Mr. Barber, Mr. Slappy, Mr. Green, you know, Mr. Young, you know, all of those and Mrs. And it wasn't too much that we did not get away with. So
That's
of course
exactly
we tried,
right.
but a lot of times we got busted too.
Yes. So how would you describe it?
Was that for me?
Yes.
Oh, I would say I want to say influential because of Mr. Green and Mr. Williams. They were, because me being an older one, because I left in '77, went to the military, and then when I came back, you all were there, so I didn't see the move in. But Mr. Williams was always a very, you know, he influenced me. Mr. Green influenced me, and it was always really protective of that particular block. I don't know, because a lot of the other blocks around us were into a lot of drugs and a whole lot of crazy stuff was going on around us, all around us. But for some reason, 63rd and Paulina was, and I think the parents, the two family homes, or the God or the fathers in the homes, I think a lot of that made a lot of difference on our block.
And for our audience, Mr. Williams was our grandfather.
Yes.
And he was about the business.
Yes.
In a minute. So Lisa, how would you describe it? Oh, did you describe it already?
I did not, but I would say safety. We felt safe. Definitely felt safe and secure. Because you knew somebody was always watching after you.
Yes.
Even if you didn't see them.
Yeah, I would describe it as a time in life when we were poor but didn't know we were poor.
Yes.
You know, that was it wasn't until I went to college that I realized I was poor. And so I think the way we were brought up collectively really reflect on how we are today. And as my mother used to say, just because you are poor doesn't mean you need to look poor. And so we were never out in those streets looking, as she would say, any kind of way. And so let me ask this.
Can I add this?
Yes.
You know, one of the things, and when we talk about describing, you know, the words that describe our experience, I think the audience needs to understand where we actually grew up, because I think that's important. You know, when you think about, you know, the Chicago shows or people go to Chicago, we grew up in the Inglewood community of Chicago.
Absolutely.
And that particular area was gang infested, right? It was drug infested. It just had a lot of
There's a lot of teenage pregnancy.
It had a lot of dysfunction going on. But I like what Phil said. I think it was Phil when he said it's just something about our block, though. And you know, not that those things didn't come over there, because people were impacted, but for the most part, we were able to contain, you know, some relative sense of health and purpose and family. And so I think the Inglewood community, I think that's important for our audience.
I agree with that. And I also think even though we all knew the drug dealers, the drug users, they all hung out on our block, but they also understood, even if they weren't getting guidance at home or being supervised at home, they knew that if they came on our block, that they were going to be guidance and going to be supervised, and they welcomed
our porch.
Our porch. We're gonna get to that porch, because that porch was a pivotal thing in our childhood. So let me ask this question, Kenny. What's one thing you can credit growing up on Paulina to who you are today?
Exactly.
It really boils down to, with me being the youngest, I could just remember a lot of stuff that y'all that the field and curling and that age group used to do, you know, that made me who I am today, as far as knowing how to party, knowing how to just, you know, just music, my love for music. A lot of that came from observing the older ones. So that's definitely, you know, it's kind of like bits and pieces that I just pulled from growing up, you know, on Paulina, that really taught me to be who I am today.
And for our audience, Kenny, as he mentioned, he was the youngest of the Brain family, and back then he seemed so much younger than us all that let him hang out with us, him and Mark. They used to hang out together. We'd be like, scram. Go find something to do. Stay with your own age group. But as we grow older, we all seem to be in the same age group now.
Right.
So, Jackie, what's something you could credit to who you are today from your experience on Paulina?
Ooh, you know what? What helped me to adapt to others, sitting on different porches, not just with those in my age group. I would sit on the porch with Andrew's mom, Miss Young, chit chat. I sit on the porch with other people's parents, or, you know, it didn't matter. It wasn't just about the child relationship. And they had a lot to Audrey, sit on the porch with her too.
Okay, Lisa, same question.
Okay.
I don't know, just keeping the whole unity, the love, all of that was instilled, because that's actually what I do in my life today. It's all about other people and helping them and getting them grounded. and that all came out of my upbringing.
Okay, Carolyn.
Yeah. Wow, that's a big question, but because I definitely could say your grandparents and Snooki certainly played a role in my life and where I am today and decisions that I've made. Because our families were a lot alike, but they're not a lot alike, but then had so many values and just great values to instill. And so I felt like I got it, of course, at home, and I got it at you all's home. But then there were, I'll say, trying to say this nicely. You know, I mean, you know, all of our families had our dysfunction.
Absolutely.
Like exactly. So, of course, there, you know, were families, you know, on the block, just like families like our next door neighbors that we have today, that, you know, even at a young age, it was kind of like something is not right, you know. And so I think when seeds like that are planted at such a young age, the older you get, you start to understand those seeds. And so you can really value and cherish the positive seeds, I'll say, that were planted. So again, your family certainly played a major role in my life, as well as, you know, my family.
Okay, and before I kick it over to Sharon, I want to give a shout out. We have Michael Bush on the call with us today.
Oh, hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
What's up, Mike?
Sharon, how did those 3 years impact who you are?
Well, you know, there is so many areas that, in my experiences, that impacted my life. I think I learned to be bold and courageous growing up in that community, and to almost be fearless, to be very honest with you. There's so much happening around us and so much happening so close to us. But it also gave me a perspective that I would not, I don't think I would have gotten anywhere else, in terms of knowing that people are not perfect people. Right? And so being able to go out into the world and have this perception, you know, and this ability to meet people where they were, because we grew up where we had to see people where they were.
Yes.
Right? So I think that whole perspective and perception, and my keen sense of observation, and just a lack of judgment, because, you know, people are people and things happen to people. And so I knew, I don't know if I could articulate back then that there was a lot of dysfunction. Thank you, Carolyn. I don't know if I could articulate that, but I felt it. And I knew it. And I think it really instilled in me that there was hopefully a different world out here.
Yes.
Right? A world that, you know, going to be different. Not that I wouldn't run into people like that, but I would also experience people who have different experiences. And I also think that it helped to create my work ethic, because I knew that I could not live back at home, did not want to be back at home, right? For a whole lot of different reasons. So I knew that I had to take care of myself. And so being out here, getting my education, you know, working hard, it's some things that's still rooted in who I am from that experience growing up in the community.
Okay, Phil.
I'm sorry, I thought you asked me that already. What was the question?
Oh, maybe I did. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's we're gonna keep it pushing. Okay, so for me, I feel like I really developed a strong sense of family growing up on Paulina. As Lisa said, I felt safe on the block. I knew, not only on the block, but in the community, right? I knew that because we were allowed to be outside, beyond most people's time to go in the house.
Yes, we were.
I was never concerned about, you know, anything happening to me or anybody trying to harm me.
Yeah.
So having that strong sense of family. I still have that today. I'm serious about my family. I'm serious about the ones I love. I'm going to show up and support those that I can whenever I can. And I will also say that I learned that in my life, there's no such thing as peer pressure.
Okay.
And that the things that I do or wanted to do is because of what I wanted to do and not necessarily because somebody else was doing it. And so that is still who I am today. So, yes.
Yeah, I didn't answer that question, but I would say Mr. Williams was somebody that just like you saying, sitting on the porch at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock and talking to Mr. Williams was really important. Of course, Mr. Green sitting up, in the living room, and he's stressed out on the couch, and we just having these conversations, and going into Betty Lou's. I don't know if y'all remember Betty Lou's. It was
On
down
the corner, 63rd. We couldn't go
I
in
never
there.
knew the name of it.
Right, and those old guys in there kind of took me under their wing, and it kind of kept me. It kind of gave me a sense of manhood growing up in Inglewood, where there was a whole lot of insanity going on. Like I say, between Mr. Williams, Mr. Green, and a couple other of the older gentlemen on the block. It just kind of gave me a sense of manhood, a black manhood, that kind of sustains me today.
Okay, and so with that being said, how would you describe your parents? Would you say they were strict or lenient? Jackie.
Well, you know what? She was lenient. Our mom was lenient, but there were boundaries. And you knew what to cross, what you couldn't cross. However, you weren't sure of the consequences because she wasn't that normal person. A woman didn't satisfy.
So you're saying there would be some days you could get snatched up?
And she'll tell you in a minute, if I catch you, I'm going to act like I don't know.
We got Green from South Africa. I'll give y'all one guess who that is.
James.
Dr. Nyike.
Hey,
James.
Yeah, okay, so Carolyn, Phil, Kenny. Well, it might have been different for Kenny because he was younger, right? The younger siblings always get it a little bit easier, but how would you all describe it? Would you say your parents were strict or lenient?
I'll go first.
So
that term "spare the rod, spoil the child" didn't happen with me. And the crazy thing is, I never got whooped by my father. Mama put it on me. And she had my older brothers and sisters hold me while she beat me down with a extension cord.
Because you a big guy.
He was a runner.
Oh man, but she was
that was one time, Ken.
I smacked by her before. I done got, bro, trust me, I done got my share. That's why I respect her.
I'm talking about us holding you down. That's all.
Yeah, but definitely structure. My father didn't play. His voice, his command, presence was everything. So I let them take it on.
Look, being one of the sisters in the family, typically there are differences between brothers and sisters. So for you, what was it like?
I was sitting here thinking about that while everyone else was talking, but Mom and Dad were not. I'm not gonna say they were strict.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna give this from my perspective. I'm just trying to see how to say this. Okay, so I think what I'm thinking about at that, what comes to my mind when I was, 11, 12 years old, and I was the one doing the washing and the cooking and the cleaning and the cooking and, all of that. And it had to be done because mom and dad worked. So of course, back then I'm like, nobody else, they don't ever do anything, da 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 da. But as far as being strict, I don't think they were strict. I think they were disciplinarians. Yeah. And with Kenny and this beating that mom gave him, and it was a beating, it was because mom had told him not to do something, but it was like the third strike. Yeah. So he got what he got.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm gonna put this comment up on the screen. Hold on, Carolyn. Let me put this comment up on the screen from Kiki. It says, because you were bad, Kenny.
Little sis gonna rat me out.
There you go. Thanks, King.
That's funny.
And actually, what it was is he told me not to leave school by myself, but to walk home with Dorothy. Mm-hmm. Because there was some man going around streaking, he was doing something, flashing people or something like that. Mm-hmm. And the first time I did it, second time I did it, Dot was like, hey, I can't let you get away with this one. And I paid the price for it, definitely.
Yes.
You still remember it.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Being one of the older siblings in our household, second oldest, what would you say?
Well, I was going to say, you have to think about the times that we're really talking about, right? So our parents were coming out of the civil rights, right? The civil rights era happened. Mm-hmm. So I think about this often, and they only knew what they knew, right? Don't get pregnant, finish school, but at the same time dealing with their own struggles and trying to raise all of us, right, and feed all of us and keep jobs. And so as the oldest, you say I'm the second oldest, absolutely, but as the oldest, the responsibilities was a lot. It was just a lot. And think about being young and taking on that amount of responsibilities. It definitely has an impact on who you are as an individual. And so I'm not so sure if mom was so strict. I think we had a good balance with our mom. She was young enough, right? And so we had a good balance with her. I don't remember too much discipline for me because I was the oldest and I was so busy doing stuff. I don't remember a lot of discipline, but I do remember a lot of responsibilities, and that is because of how we grew up. So it was a interesting childhood, I would say.
Indeed.
From a parenting perspective.
And Lisa, were your parents strict or lenient?
They were definitely not strict.
Yeah.
I want to say they were pretty lenient, but they were lenient with rules that had been set. So it was understood that I don't want you going out in the street and doing anything that you can't do here. So it was kind of a real good balance. It wasn't strict. It was lenient, but you knew the rules and you knew the law. Put it like that.
Okay. And Phil, being one of the older brothers.
Well, Curlin had a lot of buffers. I was one of those buffers who would take beatings for her when she was out of order.
Thank you.
I would take the blame. So no. Well, my father was strict on me because I was kind of out there. I was kind of exploring things where my siblings weren't. Experimenting with this and that in the neighborhood, the drinking and the weed and all that stuff. Coming home late, blowing curfew. So they had to be strict on me. My mother loved me unconditionally, but once I went through that phase, then she had to kind of put her foot down But as far as man, growing up in a loving family, and again, I don't know how it expanded onto the whole block. It was just, you know, I would go to the Greens, I would come across the U-All, and you know, it was just love on the block. So it was kind of, and I heard it earlier. Someone talked about just discipline, but still, and Lisa was just talking about the love that, you know, we're in the family. So it was just an amazing experience growing up where we grew up.
Can I ask you all something based on what you just said, Philip? So we talk about the block, but there are lots of houses on that block, right?
A lot.
So I think, you know, when you really think about, when I think about it, I'm thinking about it with pockets, right? Families. I don't know if the entire block both sides were connected. You know, so these three families were connected, right? And then maybe one or two others, but I want to just really say that because I think we probably missed out on, you know, some relationships or not. I don't know.
True.
There was a lot of people on both sides of the street.
Well, I would just add that, you know, Roscoe, the Browns, I don't know if you all remember the Browns.
The Youngs,
and the Willises. Say, I'm sorry.
The Davis.
The other Green family.
And Renee. So
right.
It was an amazing collection that ended up on that block. And I think once somebody moved in, they just kind of got that spirit that, oh wow, this block kind of, we looked out for each other. They look out for each other. They're concerned about each other. And I think it's just, you know, I think it was just a unique, blessed, in a kind of lot of ways situation.
So, can I add this also? I was gonna say the Moores also, who live directly next door to us.
Right.
But with Sharon mentioning the civil rights movement, you all remember, I can't remember their last name or any of the other siblings, but one of the siblings, his name was Coon.
Yeah, right on the corner.
Oh, Willie.
On the corner.
Yeah,
on the corner. His name
building
was
with two
Coon.
flags.
That's where Karen lived too. They moved in. Yeah.
And it was, I want to say it was 2 floors.
Yeah, it was 2
And
floors.
I could remember when Dad heard that his name was Coon, he flipped. Coon, why y'all calling him Coon? But see, we didn't know.
Right.
Right.
But
So
now we do.
we have a comment from Asia. When you do a siblings conversation, I'm ready to tell my story. Ma'am,
Hey, Taser.
all fabricated. It is all
Yeah, and also you all don't forget about Robert Earl and Tutu Smack Marshall. And then you had the McGowns across the street. So yeah, we didn't have too many empty sockets. We had the people on the block.
Sure. And I was the person on the block who did everybody's hair. I did Erica's hair, Lisa's hair, Ben's hair. I was doing everybody's hair on the block. So I've been a hairstylist my whole life. Way before they came up with the term cosmetology. Are any of our family members still living on the block? Certainly not ours.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
We don't even have a house.
I was going to say our house has been torn down.
Yeah, our house was torn down too.
Yeah, and
I think ours is still there with no porch.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say your house was still there, but it's not in livable conditions. And so Kiki says the block parties used to be popping.
Oh yeah,
they did.
Oh wow!
And that's because she was in her own little world.
She remember the block party.
Terrorizing the block. So let's talk about the parties. Let's talk about those basement parties that we used to have.
Goodness gracious, no.
Who want to go first? Carolyn, tell us about your experience at the basement parties.
Ooh, goodness. Oh my goodness. Just fun, dancing, no fighting, no arguing, no just having a great time. And I will say, even outside of the basement, I'm glad that I was born in the era that I was born, because we got our partying on, and you couldn't pay me to go out and party today. So, but yeah, we just had just like we always did, just had fun.
Yes. And Phil, what's your experience at the parties?
Again, being older, I remember one time we all jumped in the cars. I think we were in 2 cars, and we went to this party way on the west side, on the east end, and it was at a lounge at a club. But again, when we did anything, we looked out for each other. You know, we, especially as older brothers, we was like, ain't nobody doing nothing to none of our sisters, and it was that type of vibe that we were brothers and sisters, and we were gonna take care of each other regardless of where we went. Wasn't nobody gonna come into this block, and so it was always, some of us had to look out for the younger ones when y'all was partying and doing y'all thing and making sure nobody's creeping, if you will. So that was something that I was kind of focused on at the time.
Hold on,
making sure you all walking.
We got Lisa's big sister on here, Hattie.
Hattie.
Said, hello, Hattie. We were taught that on our block we should love each other. If drama comes from outside, we would band together. Yes.
And together.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Sharon, what do you remember the parties? Let's start there.
I do. Let me say this. One of the things I kind of remember is, you think about, the gangs, the people that were in gangs, right? So you had Marsfield, you had all these outsiders. But when they came on our block, right? I think what you all said is so true. They felt that love. They felt the safety. They felt the security. So I don't remember like anything popping off on our block, right? It was like maybe craziness all around us, but on our block, and people came. And so I remember, of course, we had the parties.
Yes, you all did.
Full of females. Everybody wanted to be connected. Because I'm assuming you all have to tell us, they thought we were fun loving. Our mom was cool.
Yes.
Right? We looked good. We were smart. We weren't out in the streets, right? And when people came, they felt at home with us. And so I think, and I don't know, and Mom would have to say this, but as I think back, I wonder if those were really rent parties, because I think she used to charge 25 cents or something. I don't know.
Plugger parties. Fast with a plugger.
Party.
I don't think they were rent parties, because our parents were not letting us out. So.
Yeah, I know, but that's another thing. I don't know if the brains know this, right? They know that house was our grandparents' house, my mother's mother and father's house, but they gave that house to my mom so she could raise us, right? And so we lived pretty comfortably, to be fair. I was like, I didn't know we were poor until we left.
We know.
I just never thought before. Yeah. Right? Even when I left.
We were dressed, we were cute, we know. So we were coordinated.
Kenny, did you sneak in to any other parties at our house? Because I know we didn't invite you.
No, you know what? when y'all used to have y'all parties down there, we used to be out on the porch. That's the one thing we liked about when y'all had y'all parties. We could stay out all night.
They had their own.
Behind those seats, running around and just sitting on the porch having a good time. So that's one thing I definitely remember about that.
Wow.
That porch is infamous.
Mm-hmm.
I think, so as it relates to the parties, I remember we had a party. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. We got my younger sister here. Come on, Erica.
Hey,
Erica.
She said my feet still feel some type of way going back and forth to McDonald's just to get some ice.
Oh my goodness.
And that was for Eddie. Because Eddie,
okay.
was a statement on the block. and everybody knew not to fool with Eddie. And then we didn't go, they found out the hard way. But I remember we had a party one time, and my mom was making homemade pizzas.
Yeah, deep dish.
And the guy that I was dating at the time, you know, I only been with him my whole life, but the guy I was dating at the time, Elliot, was the DJ. And I remember we partied so hard, the floor had actually sweated. And it was wet down there, and we just turned all the way up. And like y'all said, there was no fighting, no arguing, no disrespect. It was all just such a great memory that I had. Like, as far as, you know, my mom is concerned, everybody knows Snooki in the neighborhood in Inglewood. Everybody knows Snooki.
Yeah.
Everybody knew a couple things about Snooki. One, everybody knew she didn't care who your parents were. Don't do nothing and let her find out, because she is going to fail in your face. The she expected from us, she also expected from everybody around us. Came to our house, and she did not discriminate. And so she, and I also got this from her, her nurturing side. Right? Want to nurture, want to help everybody, want to, you know, make sure that, you know, kids and young adults feel safe and in a good place and make smart decisions. And she didn't play about her girls. And so everybody knew Snooki, and everybody knew that Snooki was not to be played with, including Mr. Slappy and Mr. Barber.
Okay.
They got a hold to their behinds a few times.
They tried.
You don't remember when they painted the trees white, the lower part of the trees white?
Yeah.
Oh, she wore them out. She wore them out. So, Kiki wanted to know, what time did the party end? It ended whenever it ended.
It ended.
Because we had a 2 o'clock curfew, a 2 a.m. curfew.
But I remember the good thing, okay, we lived in the neighborhood with Harper High School. But we all attend Robeson. So the two would come together and there was no problems. And I remember a party over, everybody leaving, nobody wanted to leave. And then Snooki said, okay, I'm gonna give y'all another hour. Everybody flew back to our basement.
And Lisa, I have a special question for you, because for some reason you and I seem to be, at the time, the youngest females on the block, even though we had younger siblings, but they were so much younger than us at the time that they didn't count. And so you and I used to hang as tough and as tight as thieves. And we would go over at each other's houses, and we would eat at each other's houses. Like, we would wake up going to each other's houses. Yeah, absolutely. And so share a memory you have of me from back then.
Oh, wow.
Keep it clean.
I was innocent back then. I'm still innocent now.
You know what? The memory I have is that you have always been confident. You have always had a level of confidence, because you did have those outside of 63rd, especially going to school, who just could not. I mean, it's like, we just don't like her. We can't stand her. Oh my God, she thinks she this and she thinks she that. And it's like, no, you all just can't deal with who she is, because she's real. And that's something that has always been there. If she's not having a good day, I knew she wasn't having a good day. If something was wrong, I always knew something was wrong. To the degree she went away to school, came back home, and who you think got that phone call when something wasn't right? But no, you have always been pretty confident, and you stood your ground regardless to what somebody else thought.
Can I add something real quick, Sherelle?
Yes.
I remember when my mother, I hope Carl could probably refresh my memory, when we did the surprise birthday party, and you remember coming, Sherelle, to Augusta?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so I had no idea, but I just said, "Hey, Butter, how you doing?" And Butter, Sherelle was like, "My name ain't Butter, my name is Sherelle." Oh my God. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know.
But did it work?
You put it down. You just blasted me. I was like, I've always been wanting to say that, so I got it off my chest.
Well, you are not alone. All of my college friends still call me Butter. And I say the same thing to them. My name is Sherelle, and they say, I ain't gonna curse, but they say, F that. Your name is Butter, and I don't care what you say.
But as my baby sister, I was like, okay, all right, it's cool.
You know,
And it's been
funny,
Sherelle ever since.
Hey, there we go. Some people can change, some people not so much.
Ask this question to the Brames. Where are your parents from? Where are they originally from? And I'm going somewhere with this. Where are they from?
My father was from Morrilton, Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
My
Okay.
mother was originally from Missouri,
Mhm.
Portisville.
Oh,
Missouri.
Portisville. Mm-hmm.
okay. And what about the Greens?
Carrollton, Mississippi.
Okay, yeah. And so I think that's important, as we talk about, kind of how we grew up. Our parents and our grandparents, well, our grandparents actually came from Mississippi and Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
Arkansas, Mississippi. And so they brought some of that Southern, those Southern roots with them.
Mm-hmm.
And they were coming from something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And trying to apply what they've learned to this environment so that we could survive.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was important to say, because when people think about Chicago, I think they forget that part, that most of the people are from the South.
I agree.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it has that feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
So this hour has gone by quickly.
Yes, it has.
Ask one last question. I'm going to read somebody's comment though. I want to ask you all one last question. The Porch Prophet said, "Tell the truth. The best part about reminiscing about the block is that there was no cell phones to record y'all at them parties." And that's exactly right. That's exactly right. All right.
That is so true.
Especially the blue lights.
Oh, that light in the basement.
We have 15 seconds per person. Let's see. Wait a minute. Hold on. Hattie says, "Your mom was a great influence on my life. She told me about how to wear my hair and what clothes not to wear because I was so skinny. She was a great influence." Like I said, she didn't care. Whatever she would tell her kids, she would tell anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So, I want you all to dig in your memory bank, and in 15 seconds or less, tell me of one great memory that you have that we haven't already discussed from being on the block. So while y'all thinking about it, I'm gonna go first. I remember the blizzard of 1979.
Oh Lord!
At 21 inches of snow, our mom was working at Germano Millgate, and my aunt lived in Germano Millgate, and my mom was stuck over there and couldn't get home, and we was at the house unsupervised.
Uh-oh.
Okay, that was a great memory. Jackie and I had snowsuits. And Lisa's mom called us on the phone and said, "I need y'all to go to the store." And all that snow, we got up. We put on our snowsuits and we went to the store. So what, she had 10 kids of her own. Okay, Jackie, I know you got a good memory.
That's funny.
Oh my God! I can't go through all of them. Okay, but we love our porch, and this is how it works. When you have a family of 6 beautiful young ladies on the porch, you wake up in the morning, people already on your porch. They tried to get a spot. I was like, we were truly loved. But no one got a spot. They were our friends.
What you have?
Did you say me?
Yes.
I'm gonna just say that I was at you all's house, Blizzard of '79, having fun with you all.
Okay.
You know what made me really think real quick was the fact that you all are like my big sisters, and I was Erica and Kiki's big brother.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like to this day, they're still my girls. You know, so just I can remember eating at the Greens house. I can remember eating at y'all house plenty times. So you know, I just think about stuff like that also.
Okay, Phil.
This real quick. You mentioned Kiki. This again, I was telling you the other day. It's just amazing, you know, where you all are today, and it's just a blessing. But again, it's just being able to be part of, you know, watching you all grow and making sure that you all were safe on the block. And my heart is kind of, because I'm thinking about Andrew Young right now, and my other best friend James Willis, and we're still friends today. So it's just the relationships that that I still have today. Those who have passed on, you know, and then to still have us to be able to come together and do something like that is just lasting, everlasting.
Okay, Sharon.
I just remember the laughter. I was listening to you all and observing, and that's what I remember. There was always a laugh, something funny, people having a good time, and I think that said a lot about who we were as families and friends and neighbors. They crack and joke. I mean, it just all the time. And then my 13 first cousins, right? They would always come over. It was just always a time.
Yeah.
Now the fun house.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hold on, I want to shout out Danielle. Lisa's niece is on here. Hey, Danielle.
Hey, Danielle.
Okay, Lisa, one great memory you have.
You know what? It keeps coming. I don't know if you all were on the block yet, though. But remember, we had this blackout. There was a blackout on the block. And I mean, it was a blackout. It just went blocks and blocks away. But you heard people from other blocks coming over, screaming and calling my dad's name. Hey, Mr. Green, y'all okay? Is everybody here? You know, it's like the checkup in the blackout.
Oh, wow.
That always stood out so strong to me. Like, people was just screaming and hollering, but none of them lived on our block, and we were all in the blackout, but they were concerned about us. I'll never forget that. Yeah.
Hattie said, I remember falling down the stairs and Jackie running, asking me if I was okay, sliding down the street to see about me on the ice. So, I would also like to say, when we were kids, Lisa can really sing, and I used to love to hear her sing. I always wanted to sing, and y'all should just really be glad that that's not the talent God gave me. But Lisa could sing, and I used to always want her to sing "Reunited." You remember that, Lisa?
What Reunited? Oh yeah, that was you and the brothers' song. That was you and your first love song.
She was the first sister-in-law.
Look, don't call me my first love, because you know Tutu swear I was married to him. I don't remember, but he swear by it.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. It was Ben. But yeah, I do remember that.
This has been great. I thank you all so very much.
Thank you.
I love
Thank you.
That was fun.
It was.
It really gave us just a chance to just really think about who we are, how we got to where we are, and you know, to show, you know, the bond that we continue to have. You know, 50 years later. Well, I'm not that old. We're not that old. For us. Okay.
50 years later.
go. There she go.
Thank you all so very much. I'm gonna ask you all to sit tight for me. I am going to take you off screen. We love you too, Hattie. I am going to do my what the hell segment, and we are going to wrap this up. So,
Right.
Inglewood, yes.
Inglewood.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Sharon. And thank you, Phil. And thank you all for listening to us reminisce about our upbringing and to really enjoy how we have bonded over the years. But I want to talk about what the hell. You know, there's so much going on in our country that I just really couldn't even settle on one particular topic for the what the hell segment. But I think in the moment, I am going to settle on what the hell is going on with our federal employees. As you all probably are aware, that many federal employees who were in the diversity, equity, and inclusion occupation was sent home yesterday with a letter telling them that they were on paid administrative leave. And so with that, the agencies also received guidance from the White House telling them that they have until next Friday, the 31st, to come up with a written plan that they must submit to the Office of Personnel Management on how they were going to terminate these employees. Now, I must tell you that, as you know, it is against the law to discriminate against people based on political affiliations. And so these employees, through no fault of their own, no performance issues and no misconduct issues, are going to be unemployed. And so what does that mean for them? That means that, number one, they are going to be missing a paycheck. That is their livelihoods. We all know at least one federal employee that's going to be impacted. And if they weren't impacted yesterday, sit tight, they will be impacted in the coming days and months. Number two, it means that they are going to be losing their health insurance coverage. And we know how much health insurance costs in this country. And most people cannot afford to pay outright for health insurance. We also know that these employees cannot draw a pension because they are not eligible for retirement. And so what does that mean? That means that once they turn the age of 62, they can then draw their pensions. Now, some of these employees are in their late 30s, early 40s, and they have to do this they have to find something to sustain themselves for the next 20 years. And the next thing it impacts is their 401ks, also known as the Thrift Savings Plan for federal workers. They cannot withdraw money from their 401k without paying a hefty penalty. And so I'm asking myself, what the hell are these people supposed to do? And with private industry stepping back from the DEI space, that means that a lot of them will not be able to get jobs. And so we are going to have to surround our federal employees with love, with support, with understanding. And in some instances, we may have to take in some of these employees and have them live with us, right? Because this is the time where we have to come together as a community to support our federal workers. Now, are all federal workers, top talent? Absolutely not. But neither is it in any other occupation. Are all our federal employees poor performers? Absolutely not. Do they deserve this? Absolutely not. So here's what I'm going to commit to doing. I have been keeping up on how this administration plans to impact our federal workers. And so I'm going to be doing a live podcast where federal workers can ask me questions and I can give them answers. I'm going to talk about federal agencies have been ordered to run a reduction in force. And so I'm going to be doing a special podcast either tomorrow or Saturday on reductions in force, how it works, how you may be impacted, how you might not be impacted, how somebody else might be impacted because you got impacted, and that sort of thing. And so if you know a federal worker who needs this information, and again, this is not just for the people who were placed on paid administrative leave yesterday, because they are bound and determined to decrease the size of the federal government. And so that is going to impact a lot of people. And I need federal workers to know what is supposed to happen and what questions they need to be asking. And they need to understand how it may or may not impact them, even if they have been designated as a surplus employee. So if you know any federal workers, please steer them to my social media platform so that I can help them in any way that I can. And for those federal workers who may need some one-on-one time to ask specific questions, maybe that they don't feel comfortable asking in a public setting, please point them in my direction. I am willing to help, and I am willing to share my knowledge so that we don't have to continue to say, what the hell? Thank you all for joining me. I'll see you in 2 weeks. I have a special guest lined up, and we are going to continue to support one another. Good night. Thank you for joining and participating in Let's Get Into It. I want to thank my special guest for being brave enough to get into it. Without you, these conversations cannot happen. Remember, different viewpoints, respect, and love are the foundations of Let's Get Into It. If there's a topic you think I should discuss, drop me a recommendation. If you're interested in being my special guest, let me know, because we can and will get into it. Have a great day on purpose, and I look forward to your continued engagement and support as we get into it.